fan of the character from her animated beginnings, I was beside myself with excitement to put in those ice blue contacts and hold her two lightsabers. But more than anything, it was donning her new costume that thrilled and moved me beyond measure, because it meant that we would all get to join her on yet another adventure. A story that reconnected her with old friends, while accepting new positions and confrontations that provoked her to grow and develop in ways that, in my opinion, make her arc continue to be one of the greatest ever told. Despite the challenges and setbacks she faces, Ahsoka is consistently loyal, steadfast in her beliefs, and fiercely passionate. A beacon of faith, hope, and wisdom, I believe she embodies what it means to be a Jedi. She is a consummate master of her craft, and yet always wants to be better, something we can all aspire to. This experience has been so deeply fortifying and beyond exceptional, which is only that much more stirring because it is only the beginning. And what an unforgettable beginning, as Star Wars has been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. To be included in this galaxy is such a privilege, one that we're all indebted to its creator for, the brilliant George Lucas, who envisioned and captured this expansive world. I continue to be awed and inspired by it, and especially by Ahsoka herself. Star Wars has sparked the imagination of so many kids and adults alike, for generations now, and is rightfully cherished and shared by all who encounter it, and by all who get the chance to nurture and leave their mark on it. This incredible franchise has a unique level of world building truly unparalleled in its scope, breadth, and depth, and the Star Wars Encyclopedia celebrates this majesty. In its pages you will find hundreds of fascinating entries that wonderfully detail and honor this magnificent saga. So go, young Padawan, take this book and indulge in all there is to know about a galaxy far, far away. Remarkable individuals, incredible life forms, and sentient droids coexist throughout the galaxy. Space travel brings them together in fascinating and at times combustible combinations. From the smallest scavengers and largest creatures on the desert planet Tatooine to the impoverished denizens, wealthy aristocrats, and droid servants on the metropolitan city planet Coruscant. The galaxy is populated by innumerable beings. Although not every civilization has achieved or acquired the appropriate technology, and some remain isolationists, space travel has led to commercial trade and cultural exchanges between thousands of worlds and societies. It is not unusual to find literally dozens of species in any given spaceport. For millennia, many planets have been protected by the Jedi, an ancient order of peacekeepers with seemingly supernatural powers. The Jedi maintain that all life forms in the galaxy, as well as the universe itself, are bound together and connected by an energy field called the Force. The Jedi's battles with evil, power-hungry Sith and dark-side Force users leaves a significant impact on many worlds, affecting lives and the course of galactic history. Porter Engle, Species Ikrukian Affiliation Jedi. One of the High Republic era's greatest sword-wielders, Porter Engle is also one of its greatest chefs. He is raised in the Jedi Temple and becomes close with Barash Sylvain, to the degree that the two consider each other siblings. Porter distinguishes himself with extraordinary lightsaber combat during a siege, earning himself the nickname Blade of Bardota. More than 100 years later, Porter is thriving as the cook at the Jedi outpost on Elphrona. He Jedi Bel Zettifar, Loden Greatstorm, and Indira Stokes rescue people from the Nihil marauders. Porter makes a mortal enemy of General Villas, tangling with the Nihil military leader on numerous occasions. Barash Sylvain. Barash has the unusual ability of being able to use the Force to tell if someone is lying. In Growing Up the Jedi Temple, she becomes close to Porter Engle, seeing him as a brother. When her truth-telling ability fails during the Siege of Firevale, Barash withdraws from the Jedi Order in a ritualistic decision that will later become known as the Barash Vow. Creighton's son. Species Human Affiliation Jedi. The Jedi Council sends Creighton's son along with Aida Forte to oversee negotiations between Iram and Aerono on Yedha. He persuades soldiers to stand down as tensions rise between the two delegations. During the Battle of Dalna, he's pinned down by Path Enforcer droids and faces the Nameless, but he survives thanks to Yaddle's assistance. Rock Baran, Species Human Affiliation Jedi. Jedi Master Rock Baran in the wastelands of after an attack by mutated Katakut miners. Joins a second Pathfinder team, the crew of the Witherbloom. Their ship crashes alongside a path of the Open Hand ship carrying Nameless. Rock and Padawan Koran Solstice narrowly survive. Sisters, separated in childhood because Olivia was stronger with the Force. Olivia defends the actions of the Jedi to her sister. Helps. Mathia Cathly, Species Twi'lek Affiliation Jedi, Convocation of the Force. Mattie Cathly Lieben. And her master, on Jedha. She teaches Vilder Mack about the Convocation of the Force, and is caught up beside him when he fights the path of the Open Hand for the artifacts that control the Nameless. Mattie also fights in the Battle of Dalna. Salandra Sho, Species Human Affiliation Jedi. Salandra shows shield sets from other Jedi. She Rooper Nitani and the shield down to her when Rooper is knighted. Salandra helps Jedi Master Creighton's son investigate the path of the Open Hand on Jedha, and she questions the mother of the path. Trains passes. Olivia Zeveron. Olivia Zeveron works alongside Master Lieben as a representative to the Convocation of the Force on Yedha. When she meets the mother of the path, Olivia R. He, Vildermack. Species Kefar Homeworld Kifex Affiliation Jedi. Convocation of the Force. Ever since a person strong in the Force attacked his home when he was 4 years old, Vildermack has feared the dark side. Later he encounters the Nameless on Yedha, and clashes against Yana Ro and the Herald. With Tay Sirek's help, Vildar battles his fears and resists the dark side. Afterward he becomes the Jedi representative to the Convocation of the Force, and he assigns Mattie Cathly to investigate the path of the Open Hand on Dalna. Affiliation Jedi, Convocation of the Force. Sav Maligan. Species Cuzo Homeworld Phaetrong Affiliation Jedi Maz Kanata's Pirates. Sav Maligan sneaks away from her Jedi Master, Cactorf, to tag along with Maz Kanata, Dexter Jetster, and their gang of pirates. She goes undercover with the Dank Grax gang and is present at the Battle of Yedha. As a Jedi Master stationed on Takodana decades later, Sav repels Crix Camerat and his Nihil Raiders. Aida Forte. Species Nikto Affiliation Jedi. Aida Forte and Creighton's son are assigned as Jedi overseers of the peace treaty between rival planets, Iram and Aerono. Aida also fights alongside Master Yaddle and the youngling Sipa Tarko while investigating the path of the Open Hand's involvement in stoking the war. Aida loses her life to Path Enforcer droids. Shar-Ril Roy, Species Syrian Affiliation Jedi. Jedi Master Shar-Ril Roy and his Padawan Enya Keen play key roles in the battles on Yeta and Dalna. On Dalna, Shar-Ril Roy arranges a negotiation with the Path of the Open Hand to try to keep them from attacking the Jedi. Although he approaches them with calmness and rationality, he can't persuade the Path and ends up losing his life to the Great Leveler. Gela Natai, Species Human Affiliation Jedi. A mission to the warring planets of Iram and Erano leaves Jedi Knight Gela Natal questioning her own place in the galaxy. She decides to become a Wayseeker, an independent Jedi. However, she is drawn back into the Order, and the orbit of the charming traitor Axel Greylock when a peace treaty between the planets is signed. Ruper Nitani. As a Padawan, Ruper Nitani is deeply loyal to her master, Salandra Sho. Rup uses the Force to bring a cave ceiling down on Gloam, saving Dietrich Jago and Das and Spence Lefbrook from monstrous transformed Katikoots. She also helps former Path of the Open Hand member Fel Elix realize the Jedi are not his enemy. Enya Keen, Species Human Affiliation Jedi. Jedi Padawan Enya Keen is talented at both lightsaber combat and repairing droids, many the and of she. She's one of Jedi sent to Battle of Jed, then the Badalna. Onda loses her Shar-Ril Roy. Thereafter S wields his crystal in H-second lightsaber. Arkoff, Species Wookiee Affiliation Jedi. Arkoff is a wise and patient Jedi Master who works alongside Jedi Knight Lilitora Asi at the temple on Banshee. Arkoff is a skilled lightsaber fighter and resists giving in to his anger. When the bounty hunter Volgarat captures an injured Aslan Rel, Arkoff helps recover the young Jedi. Liban, Species Solonian Affiliation Jedi. Convocation of the Force. As the Jedi representative, Convocation of the Liban represents just one of many Force on Jedha. She helps Padawan Maddie Cathly and her aide, Jedi Knight Olivia Zeveron, in their conflict against the Path of the Open Hand. Liban falls to the Leveler's powers. Of the Force Sexer, Adi Sun Z. Adi Sun Z is the Padawan to Master Silwyn at an outpost on Batuu. Together they study ancient artifacts. She fights alongside Master Yoda when an artifact infused with the dark side spreads corruption and confusion throughout the Batuu temple. Years later she becomes a knight and takes on a Padawan named Nua, Worth Plouth. Species Nautolan Affiliation Path of the Open Hand. Worth Plouth, known as the Herald, is second in command to the Mother of the Path and a true believer in the cult's anti-Jedi doctrine. He stirs up riots on Yeta in the cult's name, but soon he and Yana Rho begin to suspect the Mother has been lying to the cult members. The Mother kills the Herald with Olivia Zeveron's lightsaber. Elysia Zeveron, Species Human Affiliation Path of the Open Hand. Elysia Zeveron, known as the Mother, transforms the Path of the Open Hand into a criminal enterprise bent on stealing artifacts strong in the Force. Slightly attuned to the Force herself, and sister to Jedi Olivia Zeveron, Elysia impresses the devout cult members with her skill at nurturing crops. Once she's installed as leader of the cult, she creates the hidden group Children of the Path to steal artifacts. Elysia's deceptions lead her into conflict with both her second-in-command, the Herald, and young cult loyalist Marda Ro. Marda eventually kills the Mother using the same nameless monsters the Mother had unleashed on the Jedi. Yana Rho, Species Evereni Affiliation Path of the Open Hand. Yanaro is Mardaro's cousin, and one of the children of the Path Thieves sent by the mother to steal Force artifacts. Yana teams up with the Herald to wrest control of the cult away from the mother. She leads a group of ex-cult members to safety after the Battle of Dalna. Mardaro, species Evereni affiliation Path of the Open Hand. Mardaro grows up in the Path of the Open Hand. She befriends Jedi Kevmo Zink, but loses him to the Nameless. This contributes to her increasing belief that using the Force is evil. She kills the mother and takes command of the cult's flagship, the Gaze Electric, and the Nameless known as the Leveler. Orlin Malo, species Quarren Homeworld Moncala Affiliation Republic. Along with Kyong Greylark, Orlin Malo is one of 2 chancellors of the Republic. He usually devotes his time to planets outside of Coruscant and far-flung hyperspace lanes. During the fraught attempt to make a peace treaty between Irem and Aerono, Orlin's blunt words help convince the Kyong Greylark, species Human Homeworld Coruscant Affiliation Republic. Kyong Greylark is one of 2 chancellors of the Republic during the era of hyperspace exploration. She resigns from her position in order to prevent herself and her son Axel from being used as pawns by the Path of the Open Hand. During the Battle of Dalna, she joins the fray with the combat skills she learned at the Coruscant Academy. Heed his pleas for peace. Tarna Miak, species Human Affiliation Convocation of the Force, Sorcerers of Tund. Tarna Miak represents the Sorcerers of Tund, a force group dedicated to the dark. Side, at Jedha's Convocation of the Force. He uses a burst of fire to break up an argument at the market. When the Path of the Open Hand incites chaos, he helps fight against the cult's enforcer droids. Tay Sirik. Tay Sirik may be a fast-talking thief, but he believes in using his skills for good. Tay becomes fast friends with Vilder Mack during the Jedi's investigation of the Path of the Open Hand on Jedha, eventually defending Vilder's life and saving Olivia Zeveron. Radicaz Sunshine Dobbs, species Human Homeworld Eriadu Affiliation Path of the Open Hand. Radicaz Sunshine Dobbs is a smuggler charmed by the mother of the Path's charisma. He smuggles Force-strong objects and nameless eggs for the cult. Sunshine strands Das and Spence Lefbrook on Gloam. Later, he goes to Planet X with Mardaro for more nameless eggs. Das Lefbrook, species Human Affiliation Republic. Young hyperspace prospector Das Lefbrook and his father Spence go on one of the first known missions to Planet X. Later, he befriends Jedi Padawan Rupert Nitani. Together, Das, Rupert, and Skygraph join the Hyperspace Chase Navigation Challenge and use it as cover in an attempt to return to Planet X. Skygraph, species Human Affiliation Graph Clan. Sky the Live. Graph, a scion of Graph Clan, wants to up to the hyperspace prospecting exploits of the rest of their family. Sky joins Rupert Nitani and Das Lefbrook on their quest to find Planet X, motivated partially by trying to find their missing father. Sky helps reunite former Path member Fel 9 with his family on Dalna. Cradon Minst, species Villarandi Homeworld, Jedha Affiliation Enlightenment Bar. Cradon Minst is the proprietor and bartender of Enlightenment Bar Anyone. On Jedha, open to willing to pay for Cradon's drinks. He often listens to Keth Serapath's troubles, and he helps Vilder Mack, Matty Cathley, and Tay Sirik escape from the Path of the Open Hand. Axel Greylark, Species Human Homeworld Coruscant Affiliation Republic, Path of the Open Hand. As the son of Republic Chancellor Kyong Greylark, Axel has access to high society, but he normally just ends up partying. The mother of the Path of the Open Hand uses Axel's grudge against the Jedi to recruit him as her agent. Although he's codenamed Chaos, Axel ultimately chooses his own mother and his burgeoning friendship with Jedi Gelanatai over the Path. Keeve Trennis. Species Human Affiliation Jedi. Keeve Trennis is Skir's Padawan, and she looks up to Avar Kriss. In her trial to become a Jedi Knight, she saves members of the Gympie species from predatory Radati star locusts. Trennis, Skir, Serret, and Terek venture into the tunnels of Sedri Minor and discover the Drengir hiding there. Skir becomes part of the Drengir root mind, and by bonding with it, Keeve is able to discover the location of the Drengir progenitor, even though she suffers terrifying visions. Keeve talks Avar out of killing an unarmed Lorna Dee, and she comforts her after the fall of Starlight Beacon. Eventually promoted to Master, she becomes an unlikely ally to Lorna. Avar Kriss. Species Human Affiliation Jedi. One of the foremost Jedi of the High Republic, Avar Kriss brings other members of the Order together. She achieves this thanks to both her moral guidance and the unique way she perceives the Force. Kriss grows up in the Jedi Temple, where she fosters a close friendship with fellow Jedi Stellan Gios and Elzar Mann. Kriss serves as the Marshal of Starlight Beacon, which is the space station that symbolizes the Republic at the height of its power. She negotiates a wary truce between the Republic and Hutt forces in order to fight the ravenous Drengir. Kriss. Composure is tested when she almost kills Nihil pirate leader Lorna Dee in anger. Fellow Jedi Keeve Trennis reminds Avar of her Jedi training, and the pair capture Lorna instead of killing her. Their victory is interrupted by a Nihil attack that ultimately destroys Starlight Beacon. Avar believes she's responsible in part for the deaths incurred during Starlight Beacon's fall, and she travels to the Nihil Occlusion Zone in the hopes of redeeming herself. These tumultuous setbacks batter Avar's confidence and focus, making it difficult for her to truly hear the Force. She and Porter Engle capture the Nihil ship Cacophony and find a way to pass through the storm wall around the Occlusion Zone. With this blow to the Nihil dealt, Avar's connection to the Song of the Force begins to recover. Arkic Von. Species Geonosian Affiliation Dank Grax. As a leader and spokesbeing for the Dank Grax, Arkic Von is one of the most aggressive members of the meddling gang. He rules Takodana's underworld until Pirate Queen Maz Kanata unseats him. Trying to get the planet back under control brings him into conflict with Maz and undercover Padawan Sav Mulligan. Spammel. Homeworld Jedha size 4.90 meters high habitat desert. Spammels are long-legged quadrupeds that are native to the desert moon of Jedha. Some live in the wild, but Jedha citizens have domesticated many spammels and use them for traveling across the sands. Riders use rope ladders to reach saddles on the creatures. Backs. Spammels see much change on Jedha between the High Republic and the Imperial occupation. They go from participating in parades in the Holy City and carrying Jedi to serving as mounts for patrolling stormtroopers. After the destruction of Jedha City, riders fit spammels with custom breathing masks to mitigate harm from the particle-filled air. Starlight Falls. When the Jedi know that Starlight Beacon can't be recovered, Stellan steers the space station into Irum's ocean to prevent it from falling in any populated areas. Avar Kriss and Elzar Mann mourn their friend deeply. Stellan Gios. Species Human Affiliation Jedi. Jedi Master Stellan Gios trains Padawan Vernestra Rwoh until she's made a Jedi Knight. He's promoted to the Jedi Council during the conflict against the Nihil pirates, where he is a firm voice for the belief that the Jedi are the hands of the light side of the Force. During the Legacy Run disaster, Gios protects people on T'Kla from falling debris. Stellan is assigned to protect Chancellor Lina Soh during the Republic Fair. Throughout the Nihil attack on the fair, he demonstrates the Jedi vow of never attacking, only defending against the pirates. Stellan is acting marshal of Starlight Beacon during the attack that brings the space station down. He stays on board while the station crumbles, steering it into the ocean on Irum to avoid as much collateral damage as possible. Although he saves many lives in the process, Stellan dies in the crash. Loden Greatstorm. As Master Debel Zettifar, Loden teaches his Padawan lightsaber combat, Jedi philosophy, and how to save himself by using the Force to slow his fall from a great height. Loden is captured and tortured by Marchion Ro during the Great Disaster. He is lost to the nameless, calcifying presence. Sskeer, Species Trandoshan Affiliation Jedi. Sskeer trains his Padawan Keeve Trennis to be both fierce and compassionate, like he is. Sskeer loses an arm at the Battle of Kur. The Drengir infect him, causing him to battle against both the hive mind's influence and the dark side within him. In the end, Sskeer helps Keeve and Avar Kriss immobilize the Drengir progenitor. Elzar Mann. Species Human Affiliation Jedi. Jedi Master Elzar Mann helps the Republic track deadly debris from the Legacy Run disaster. Along with fellow Jedi Avar Kriss and Republic analyst Kevin Tarr, Elzar engineers a network of hundreds of droids from hyperspace. Where the storm against storm, Elzar helps repel the Nihil during the Republic Fair on Valo. He calls on the dark side to throw the fair's floating pavilions at the pirate fleet. Lula Talisola. Species Human Affiliation Jedi. Lula Talisola trains as a Jedi with the close-knit Starhopper crew, including Masters Yoda, Torban Buck, and Kantum. Sai, as well as Padawan's Court and Farzala Tarabal. She invites Zeen Rala to join the Jedi, and the two later confess their love for each other. Lula decides not to become a Jedi Knight, instead focusing on figuring out her next step with Zeen. Istala Maru, Species Kasurian Affiliation Jedi, which includes Lula Talisola and her friend Zeen Rala. Torban helps the kids evacuate Starlight Beacon during its destruction, and he confronts the Nameless alongside Shan Holt and Emmerich Kafter. Oversight when Avar discovers a Hutt operation on Sedri Minor. As Starlight Beacon falls, Istala holds it together with the Force long enough for others to escape, but he loses his life. Lily Tora Asi. Species Human Affiliation Jedi. Lily, Torban Buck. Species Chagrian Affiliation Togruta. Torban Buckets of Blood Buck is a Jedi healer. He teaches a cohort of Padawans aboard the ship Starhopper. Istala Maru and his Astromech KC-78 handle operations for Starlight Beacon. With Avar Kriss and Republic controller Rodor Keen, he solves an assassination plot on the space station. Istala provides. Tora Asi is Arkoff's Padawan and later becomes master to Kieran Fion. She lives at the Jedi Temple on Banshee and negotiates peace between Republic settlers and the Bansheeans. She fights the Nihil and discovers that, although lightsabers are useless against the Drengir, fire is not. Vernestra Rwoh. Precocious Vernestra Rwoh is one of the youngest Jedi Knights in history, and she becomes a master to Imri Kantaros while both are still teens. Vernestra helps Imri, Honesty Weft, Avon Staros, and J6 fight the Nihil while stranded on Wavo. Her career as a Jedi goes on to span more than a century. Bel Zettifar. Species Human Affiliation Jedi. Loden Greatstorm's Padawan Bel Zettifar is determined to find his master after Loden is captured by the Nihil. Bel is often accompanied by a charhound named Ember. A close friend of Burryaga, Bel leads the way to rescue him after Burry is presumed lost with Starlight Beacon. Burryaga is one of the first Jedi realize that the emergences are debris from a spaceship, and he's critical to rescuing survivors from them. He often works with his Jedi master Nib Assek or Bel Zettifar. During the fall of Starlight Beacon, Burry lands in the Eiram Ocean with the lower half of the station, but he survives. Species Wookiee Homeworld Kashyyyk Affiliation Jedi. Burryaga, Tarek and Serret. As Bond twins, Tarek and Serret share a deep connection in the Force. Serret is captured and infected by the Drengir on Sedri Minor. The twins are reunited in the subsequent battle against the Hutts, in which Tarek rescues Serret from a rampaging rancor. Both also clash against the Nameless. Reath Silas. Species Human Homeworld Coruscant Affiliation Jedi. While a Padawan, Reath narrowly survives capture by the Drengir on the Amaxine station. With his master Cohmac Vetus, Vernestra Rwoh, and Imri Kantaros, he repels the Nihil on Tikai and destroys the gravity well projector Gravity's Heart. He also helps foil a Nihil plot on Corellia. Ram Jomaram. Ram Jomaram feels most in touch with the Force when he's repairing something. Along with the Bonbraks, he fights both the Nihil and the Drengir in an effort to get Valo's Crash Point Tower comms array up and running to call for Republic aid. He often travels with Zeen Rala and Lula Talisola. Cohmac Vitus. Species Human Affiliation Jedi. Species Human Homeworld Valo Affiliation Jedi. Cohmac Vitus and his childhood friend Orla Jareni are among the Jedi stranded on the Amaxine station, menaced by both Drengir and the Nihil. Cohmac is deeply hurt when Dez Ryden goes missing. Feelings of grief and anger continue to plague him as he investigates a Nihil plot on Corellia. He later leaves the Jedi Order. Emeric Kaftir. Species Human Affiliation Jedi. As a Jedi youngling, Emeric Kaftir grows up alongside Stellan Gios, often hearing the lullaby about the mysterious Sri Karai. Decades later, he works with Private Eye Shan Holt to find out what killed Jedi Master Loden Greatstorm. Emeric overcomes his fear and confronts a Nameless during the fall of the Starlight Beacon space station. Martian Rwoh. Species Evereni Affiliation Nihil. As Eye of the Nihil, Martian Rwoh is a pirate king who seeks loot and power for both himself and his crews. He commands the flagship Gaze Electric and holds secret hyperspace routes and the command rod for the deadly Great Leveler monster. Martian orders the Nihil to sabotage the Legacy Run, causing the great disaster. He's haunted by the voice of his father, Asgar. As well as fighting against the Jedi, Martian also has to contend with infighting between his lieutenants. especially Lorna D and Pan Eta. He leads the attack on the Republic Fair and the creation of the Nihil Occlusion Zone. Thereafter, he rules the Occlusion Zone and oversees the Stormwall from a fortress on Hetzal. Pan Eta, species Dawotan Homeworld Dawat affiliation Nihil. As one of Martian Row's 3 Tempest runners, Pan Eta leads Nihil Raiders. He both allies with and competes against Lerna and D. Kasav Miliko, Martian. Pan attacks the Republic Fair and is driven away by the Togruta fleet. In the end, Lerna kills him. Drengir, species Drengir Homeworld Mulita affiliation Drengir. The Drengir are sentient plants controlled by the progenitor of their root mind and are determined to consume anything in their path. The Sith trap a population of Drengir on the Amexine station, but once freed from that prison, the plants try to colonize the galaxy. The Drengir prove formidable foes against Jedi such as Avar Kriss, Lily Tora Asi, Reath Silas, and Des Ryden. The progenitor tries to use Avar's Force connections to infiltrate other Jedi minds. Avar and Keeve Trennis root out the progenitor on Mulita and seal her away, silencing the Drengir in their era. Aslin Rel, species Human affiliation Jedi. A dutiful Jedi Knight, Aslin Rel is attacked by the Nameless and thrown into a restless sleep full of visions. His exposure to the Nameless and his later research into the dark side grant him an extraordinarily long life, although he doesn't turn. Crix Kamarat, species Human Homeworld Trimont, 4 affiliation Elders of the Path, Nihil. Elders of the Path member, Crix Kamarat, is shocked when his childhood friend Zeen Mrala shows her sensitivity to the Force, which goes against the Path's teachings. He joins the Nihil to oppose her and gains an audience with Martian Row himself. He fights against the Republic on Dalhar Hyde and Takodana. Lina So, species Human Homeworld Dagi affiliation Republic. Lina So's vision of the Republic leads to many projects referred to as her great works, including the Starlight Beacon and Republic Fair. Lina has a son, Kitrep, and is often accompanied by her 2 Targons. During Lina's term of office, the Nihil attack, prompting her to close down some hyperspace lanes and mobilize. Lorna D, species Twi'lek Homeworld Aloth affiliation Nihil. Adaptable and ruthless, Lorna D rises to the rank of Tempest Runner in the Nihil. She captures the Jedi Loden Great Storm and leads the attack on the Republic Fair. She battles Avar Kriss and nearly loses her life, but the Jedi capture her instead. During the fall of Starlight Beacon, Lorna steals the Jedi flagship Ataraxia and becomes a mercenary, serving the Hutt Scarabda the Wise. As the Jedi, the Hutts, and the Nihil clash in Scarabda's fortress, Jedi Keeve Trennis reveals to Scarabda that Lorna killed her sister Myarga. Beset on all sides, Lorna is forced into a reluctant alliance with Keeve. Gira Staros, species Human Homeworld Hosnian Prime affiliation Nihil. Republic Senator Gira Staros feeds sensitive information to the Nihil, who is secretly allied with. She turns a blind eye as the Nihil destroy Starlight Beacon's comms buoys, leaving it open to attack. Within the Nihil Occlusion Zone, Gira runs operations for the occupied planets, but clashes with her partner and Nihil leader. Marshon Ro Gira tries to get the Republic to recognize Nihil territory as a sovereign state. She, the Nameless, species Nameless Homeworld Planet X affiliation path of the Open Hand, Nihil. The Nameless are large predators that seem to feed on the Force. They originate on the mysterious planet X, which brims with both dark and light side energy. The Mother of the Path of the Open Hand uses the creatures as tools in her quest for revenge against the Jedi. At the Battle of Dalna, a Nameless shocks Aslan Rel so badly that he becomes consumed with thoughts of the creatures, the desire to find out what they are, and the visions they give him. Abadiah Vias, Species Miri-Alan Affiliation Mercenary Army, Nihil. The Beskar armored mercenary General Abadiah Vias duels Porter Engel during the Siege of Firevale. She argues with. Martian Ro uses centuries-old Ro family knowledge to rediscover the Nameless known as the Great Leveler. Field Marshal Tozen, who hired her because he wants to keep the city intact, but Vias is willing to destroy it. Vias betrays Tozen and attacks the city, but retreats in the face of superior numbers. Decades later, Vias joins the Nihil. Ty Yorick, Species Thalothian Affiliation Jedi. Ty Yorick is a Force-attuned monster hunter. She discovers that the Gretilax creature attacking a settlement on the planet Lorith is actually too symbiotic. Zine Morala, Species Mikian Homeworld Triment 4 Affiliation Elders of the Path. Zine Morala grows up among the elders of the Path cult along with her friend Crix Kamarat. She leaves the cult to learn from the Jedi alongside Lula Talisola. Zine becomes close with Lula, Farzala Tarabal, Court, and others as they fight against the Nihil and enjoy life on Starlight Beacon. Affie Hollow, Avon Staros, Wavo. She can be opportunistic, such as when she steals Imri's broken lightsaber. Ultimately, Avon is a force for good and opposes the Nihil, especially the scientist Dr. Macampa. Turns. Adventurous Space Captain Affie Hollow works alongside her crewmates Leox Gyasi and Geode. Affie discovers her adoptive mother, Bine Guild leader Scover Bine, has been using underhanded tactics and indentured workers, so she scover over to the Republic. Affie pilots the vessel out of the collapsing Starlight Beacon during the evacuation. Melis Shrike, Species Human Homeworld Bantu Affiliation Nihil. Melis Shrike is heir to a noble fortune before the Nihil invade her city. She joins the. Nash is tempted to ask her Jedi friends Kai Brightstar, Liz Soleil, and Nubs to use the Force for her in a skiff race against her rival, Raina Zess. Instead, Nash and Raina work together to drag both of their skiffs out of the mud, and Nash uses a geyser to blast her ahead of her rival and win the race. Pirates in command ship Cacophony. Shrike admires General Vias, but then challenges her power. Shrike is willing to destroy her own ship to stop the Jedi getting their hands on it. Gavi, Species Human Affiliation Jedi. Gavi grows up at the Valo Jedi Temple alongside Jedi Knight Ram Jomaram, fellow younglings Tep Tep and Kildo, and Nihil recruit Drigget Parse. He dresses up as an assassin. Scarlet Skull to fight the Nihil, and he explores the crashed Republic ship Innovator to recover the medical supplies stored inside. Species Human Affiliation Republic. Silvestri Yarrow, Species Human Affiliation Republic. Silvestri Yarrow is a pilot for the Bine Guild until she discovers that her mother, Chancey Yarrow, is working with the Nihil. Silvestri often works with her co-pilot Nito Janahana and the droid M227. She disables the Nihil Gravity Well projector Gravity's Heart along with Jedi Reith Silas and Imri Kentaros. NIV Drendau Apruk, Species Umbaran affiliation nihil. As Baron Boolin's apprentice, Nivi Drendo Epruk has access to his captive Nameless and the means to control them. He's accompanied by a captive-bred Nameless called De Blaindrix. Niv Drendo travels to the wreckage of the Republic research ship Innovator under Lake Loniza on Valo. Nash's moms, species human affiliation Durango Shuttle Service. Wives Cryas Durango and Celiar, proud of their daughter, Nash Durango. They attend the Kublop Classic Skiff Race and cheer for her. They own the Durango Shuttle Service. Mom is a mechanic and helps Nash build new speeder. Sheehan Holt, Species Human Affiliation Republic. Private investigator Sean Holt helps Jedi Emmerich Kafter hunt down the deadly weapons broker Aratab Fell. When Kafter is incapacitated by the Nameless, she takes up his lightsaber. Holt's investigation helps the Jedi piece together the fact that the Nameless are responsible for Loden Greatstorm's death. Jordana Sparkburn, Species Human Homeworld TK Affiliation San Tekka Family. Jordana Sparkburn and Volka, Remy, patrol the deserts of TK, Zygerian and Nihil raiders from preying on the populace. She rescues her former girlfriend, pilot Silvestri Yarrow, from the Nihil and enters an uneasy alliance with the Jedi Vernestro Ro, Reith Silas, and Imri Kantaros. Her keeping, Nash Durango, Mayarga the Mercil. Young inventor Avonstaros is the daughter of a senator. Along with Imri Kantaros, Honesty Weft, and Vernestro Ro, she's stranded on the planet. Species Hut Affiliation Huts. Mayarga the Merciless has a deal with tea farmers of Sedri Minor. She buys Barl from corrupt settler Kalos Solman and comes to collect while Avar Kriss is on planet investigating the Drengir. Mayarg reluctantly allies with Avar Kriss to fight the Drengir, and eventually she's killed Lorna D. Baron Boolin, Species Athorian Affiliation Nihil. Baron Boolin is raised in the path of the open hand and busted out of prison by the Nihil. Head of the Nihil's Ministry of Advancement, Boolin performs horrific experiments to create force-using patchwork monsters known as Children of the Storm. He passes his research on the Nameless on to his protege, Niv Drendau Apruk. Nash Durango learns to be a pilot at a young age. She can fly a ship through dangerous asteroid fields, build her own speeder, and repair vehicles. In her signature move, the Throttle Buster, Nash builds up speed in a circle, then stalls while vertical in the air to let her ship free fall. Often accompanied by her droid companion RJ-83, Nash captains both the ship Crimson Firehawk of the Durango Shuttle Service and the racing skiff Crimson Bolt. Nash organizes a concert at the Jedi Temple to thank the Jedi for everything they've done for Kublop Springs. Later, she's nervous about transporting Princess Anaya, but eventually becomes comfortable with the princess and even lets Anaya pilot the Crimson Firehawk. You need me to fly in to help out. Your trusty pilot is ready. Aesu Dudonko, Kai Brightstar, Species Human Homeworld Hosnian Prime Affiliation Jedi. Kai Brightstar has the potential to be a great leader and Jedi Knight. Age date, he arrives at the Jedi Temple on Tennu to train under Master Zia Zana during the High Republic era. Positive and full of energy, he is pals with fellow younglings Le Soleil and Nubs. A loyal friend, Kai chooses to save Nubs from falling, even though it means he loses his training lightsaber. He is an eager student who approaches his lessons with gusto and is bursting with facts about Jedi lore that he loves to share. Kai is always ready for new experiences and adventure, but his enthusiasm and overconfidence can get away from him, and he inadvertently ends up causing trouble such. Telling anyone where he is going. Kai always looks on the bright side and wants to see the best in people, but he struggles to trust Ace Callisto, who is an old friend to Master Zia but also a thief. However, Kai learns that, although it is wrong for Ace to steal, people can their ways. Lys Solé, species Pantoran Homeworld Pantora affiliation Jedi. Lys Solé is a Pantoran Jedi youngling at the temple on Tanu with a great affinity for creatures. She makes friends with a Gargantua, a huge primate-like creature that is usually very shy, and she is skilled at riding snow-dwelling Welligrins. She calms one who is stuck in thorns and figures out that another is hungry for a berry, but her love of animals can distract her. One day she is so absorbed by the sight of a rare bifflefly insect that she almost doesn't eat before a class trip. Lys is quick-witted, observant in both her studies and adventures. She finds a trail of oil that holds a much-needed clue, and to the mystery of who stole from the junk dealer Marla Jannara. Easily disheartened, Lys feels like she has failed when the youngling Jam goes missing. But she is a clever problem solver and realizes that if she plays her Andraven flute, Jam will hear. Lys also comes up with the idea of catching a missing Kibbin by baiting a trap with a channelfish it likes to eat. Nubs, species Puba Homeworld Milnob affiliation Jedi. Nubs trains to be a Jedi alongside Kai Brightstar and Lys Solé. As a Puba, he is very strong, and although he typically speaks Pubian, he and his friends have no problem with understanding each other. Enthusiastic and optimistic, Nubs sometimes bursts into song with happiness. He can tap into his serenity to meditate and use the Force. Nubs has a love of nature and plants and often meditates by his favorite Tenu tree. When he is interrupted by Raxlow trying to harvest the tree's sap, Nubs' trademark joviality gives way to his more fiery side. He rallies his friends, and together they stop Raxlow from destabilizing the tree. Nubs will do anything to protect nature, but his fascination with plants leads to trouble when he accidentally brings a fast-growing grumble vine to Tenu, and the plant almost destroys the Jedi temple with its powerful runners. However, Nubs notices that the grumble vine stops expanding in the shade, and he remembers his Eacher saying that he plant doesn't like sunlight. He dodges through the grasping Inez to cover the center of he-plant with a cloth, and the Emple is saved. RJ-83. Type RJ Unit Affiliation Durango Shuttle Serve. Assistant RC-99, by telling a story so the kids can sneak Raxlow's harvester. RJ-83 admires Kit, the droid DJ and the local band, The Coup. Zia Zaldor Zana, species Human Homeworld Denon affiliation Jedi. Master Zia Zaldor Zana mentors the Jedi younglings at the Tenu Temple, including Kai Brightstar, Lys Solé, and Nubs. Gentle and patient with the younglings, she encourages them to focus, use the Force, and rely on each other. Zia sends them on a variety of missions, from learning to fly Jedi Vector starfighters to helping Wellagrin creatures migrate as a child. Zia fights against the young pirate Ace Callisto. As they grow, Zia learns that Ace isn't all bad, and she gains some sympathy for the pirate. This leads Zia to hold a lifelong belief that people who do bad things can later choose to do good. Tabor Valdorn, species Human Homeworld Vundala affiliation Tabor's Pirates. Tabor Valdorn, whose real identity is Cyrus Vundir, the Prince of Vundala, is a young pirate in command of his own ship and 2 lackeys, EB-3 and Pord. He often steals loot in order to sell it and impress the older pirates at Yarum Tower. He often clashes with Kai, Lis Sole, Nubs, and Nash Durango, but his electro staff lets him hold his ground against Kai and his training lightsaber. Tabor tries to steal Tenu tree wood that is on a train, but he ends a reluctant ally to Kai when the up-becoming 2 are trapped together in the train car. D. Affiliation Jedi. D works at the Jedi Temple on Tenu, often taking care of it while Master Zia is away. When Kai's attempt to program droids to clean the temple goes awry, D calls to Zia and Yoda for help. D takes the younglings on field trips, including to the lava fields of Tizzle and to a class on plant care. Species Human Homeworld Tenu Affiliations S Family. Gedonian Gru Homeworld Tenu. The Gedonian ground weave Soleil's favorite creatures. S with fur. It has large ears, the predators, in the forests of T entries in SFR3's Galactic List, likes the entry on the GE Weevil the best. Raina's S. Raina's S is Nash Durango's rival in the Kublop Classic Skiff Race. Raina, Nash, and Nash's Jedi friends get their skiff stuck in mud during the race. Raina thinks the Jedi cheated by using the Force, which encourages Raina to cheat. After learning that the Jedi aren't using their abilities, she helps tow both skiffs free. OGLC, Type Pilot Droid Affiliation Hyperspace Prospectors. OGLC is an adventurer who explores the galaxy in his ship, Starseeker. When 2 asteroids collide with his ship, he is left stranded. With encouragement from Kai Brightstar, Lis Soleil, Nubs, and Nash Durango, OGLC escapes and faces his fear by flying through the asteroid field again. OGLC takes the Jedi younglings with him to the mysterious planet Tharnaka to find the Tharnakan Story Stone, which is a relic of a people who disappeared. He wants to take the stone back to the Jedi Temple on Tenu so it can be studied and protected, but then he's amazed to find a Tharnakan, Ishbul Ekwesh, still present on the planet. OGLC works with Ishbul to return the artifact to the Tharnakans. JG-1, Manufacturer Tabor Type Droid Affiliation Marla. JG-1, formerly known as the large, strong droid built by T from Marla Janara's Junkyard orders, JG-1 fights Kai Bree Sole and traps them in a W, convinces JG-1 that she do for Tabor, and she returns. T works in the junkyard. Marla Janara, Species Chandra Fan Homeworld Chad Affiliation, Marla Janara's Junkyard. Marla Janara owns a junkyard in Kublop Springs, where she creates art out of discarded items. When Tabor Valdorn steals from Marla to build a junk giant droid, Marla asks Kai Brightstar and Lis Soleil for help. She also recruits Nubs to help her lift heavy items of. Scrap. Marla worries that if the pirates steal too much, she might not have enough junk to sell. Will have to leave the home she loves. After Tabor is thwarted, Marla welcomes the junk giant back home and names her JG-1. Later, Marla helps the Jedi younglings find a missing Kibbin in a pile of cans in her junkyard. And Channelfish. Welligrin. Homeworld Andraven. Welligrins are domesticated creatures owned by the Andraven herders Gumar, Jam, and Varna. Welligrins have pale blue, dappled skin, 2 sets of horns, whiskers, and large eyes. They use their foreflippers and tail to slide along ice and snow, and they enjoy exploring and swimming in groups together. The Welligrans have exhausted the food in their pasture and are being moved to the orchard on the other side of the mountains. Gumar and Jam use their Andrevan flutes to guide the herd. Gumar, Jam, Kai Brightstar, Lis Soleil, and Nubs get caught in an avalanche during the Welligran migration, and the creatures carry them to safety. Chig. Species Abednedo Homeworld Abednedo Affiliation Yarum Tower Pirates. Chig is a pirate who bases his operations at Yarum Tower. He's kind to Kai Brightstar, Lis Soleil, Nash, Durango, and Nubs when they come to Yarum Tower. Chig eats a stolen jellyfruit and points the younglings toward Tabor, who was the one who stole the fruit. On Nash's invitation, Chig attends the Kublop Springs Jellyfruit Festival. Weebo, species Rhodian homeworld Tenu. Weebo is a jellyfruit farmer who lives in Kublop Springs on Tenu. She calls to Hap for help when Tabor steals her harvest, then describes the pirates to the Jedi younglings Kai Brightstar, Lis Soleil, and Nubs Weebo hires the bounty hunter Anson, strung to look for her missing Boroga creature. Burrowberry bird. Homeworld Yamrati habitat underground. The burrowberry bird is native to the plain named by Lis Soleil when she and her ally bird on a mission. The large creature lives in an underground nest and sometimes sheds feathers. A burrowberry bird mistakes SFR3 and Cam-E, who have come to Yamrati to find the mysterious Killaroo, for the shiny berries it eats. Its babies hatch while SFR3 and Cam are in the nest. The parent burrowberry bird catches Kai Brightstar and Nubs while they're covered in. Lone Wars. Ments include Thlords, and Skywalkers the Force. Ours Jedi Master An, Obi-Wan reigning in Aulic. Like most in 6 months eining Arn to control an early age, An and Endi each other. Inara in the eutharized addition to the Kodia Endi a year on S. Satine N-Gay, the Jedi Ings 4. Later, in a In Overcome Becoming. Mers, their where the trade falls in battle feats. Akino Obid takes. Nakin as himself, and the first some Tulla promoted Ware also Pidley Blick. Anakin against IR armies Ding Tuhana. Anakin and Obi-Wan trade blows as the mining facility collapses around them on Mustafar. Friends become enemies. Obi-Wan loves Anakin like a brother. However, after he learns that Anakin has become the Sith Lord Darth Vader and is responsible for slaying Jedi, he tries to bring his former friend to justice. Vader is unwilling to surrender, and they duel with lightsabers on the volcanic planet Mustafar. Obi-Wan cuts down Vader and takes his lightsaber before leaving him seriously wounded on the shore of a lava river. Secret Guardian. After the Clone Wars, Obi-Wan delivers the infant Luke Skywalker to Anakin's relatives Owen and Beru Lars on Tatooine. Obi-Wan assumes the name Ben Kenobi and lives as a hermit nearby, while discreetly watching over Luke, protecting him from harm. After the Inquisitor Reva abducts Leia Organa, Kenobi leaves Tatooine to rescue her. On this mission, Kenobi learns of the hidden path and confronts Vader in his new cybernetic form. With Leia returned to her parents, Obi-Wan heads back to Tatooine, where a ghostly Qui-Gon teaches Kenobi how to preserve his spirit after death like Jin has. There, Obi-Wan later faces Maul, who has tracked him and still wants revenge, one final time. Jedi mentor. Years later, Kenobi convinces Luke to join him on a mission with the Rebel Alliance to rescue Leia. To buy Luke, Leia, and the others time to escape, Kenobi duels Vader and is struck down. Kenobi, however, continues to offer Luke advice and even appears to him as a spirit at various times. During the Battle of Exegol, Kenobi also offers Rey words of encouragement. Qui-Gon Jinn. Unlike many Jedi, Qui-Gon Jinn is willing to bend the rules to achieve his objectives. His maverick tendencies and belief in ancient Jedi prophecies often cause clashes with colleagues, especially those on the Council. Unconventional Jedi Master. Qui-Gon trains as a Jedi under Dooku on Coruscant, where he befriends fellow Padawan Eno Cordova. Dooku and Qui-Gon go on many missions together, including one to the planet Whale to rescue the son of a Republic senator, during which Dooku makes a controversial choice. Noble, patient, wise, and closely attuned to the Force, Qui-Gon is also a cunning warrior whose greatest strength is perhaps his empathy for other life forms, including the most unfortunate. Once he becomes a Jedi Knight, Qui-Gon takes his own Padawan, Obi-Wan Kenobi, who follows the Jedi Code more strictly than his master. While Jinn and Kenobi don't always agree, they learn to work well together. After a mission on Pijal, Qui-Gon chooses to stay as Obi-Wan's teacher rather than join the Jedi High Council. Empathetic nature. Soon after arriving on the swamplands of Naboo during the Trade Federation's blockade of the planet, Qui-Gon rescues the Gungan outcast Jar Jar Binks from a stampede of creatures fleeing from the battle droids, invading warships. Jar Jar swears a life debt to Qui-Gon, whose compassionate nature is such that he takes the hapless Gungan under his protection, much to the consternation of Obi-Wan. With Jar Jar's help, the Jedi journey to the city of Otoh and obtain a submersible that allows them to proceed through Naboo's core to its capital, Theed. Ancient prophecy. While escorting Queen Amidala from Naboo to Coruscant, Qui-Gon and his allies make an unscheduled stop on the outer rim world of Tatooine, where he discovers a young enslaved boy named Anakin Skywalker. Qui-Gon senses that Anakin is strong in the Force, and soon has reason to believe that Anakin is the chosen one of an ancient prophecy, and is destined to become a Jedi, destroy the Sith, and bring balance to the Force. Qui-Gon helps liberate Anakin from enslavement, and resolves that Anakin will be trained as a Jedi on Coruscant, the Dark Warrior. On Tatooine, a black-cloaked warrior wielding a lightsaber attacks Qui-Gon. Jinn escapes with his allies and tells the Jedi Council, and later his former master Dooku, that he believes his opponent is a Sith Lord strong in the Jedi arts. At the Battle of Naboo, the Dark Warrior attacks again, mortally wounding Qui-Gon. With his dying breath, Qui-Gon makes Obi-Wan promise to train Anakin to become a Jedi. From the netherworld of the Force. More than a decade after Qui-Gon's death, Obi-Wan and Anakin travel to the mysterious location Mortis, where they are astonished to encounter a ghostly apparition of the slain Jedi. Qui-Gon's spirit tells Obi-Wan that the place is a conduit through which the Force flows, and that it presents great dangers for the Chosen One. He tells Anakin to remember his training and trust in his instincts. During the Imperial era, Qui-Gon again appears to Obi-Wan during his exile on Tatooine, because he believes that his former apprentice is ready to learn more about the Force. Feel, don't think. Use your instincts. Gone. Escape plan. Stranded on Tatooine, Anakin and Shmi welcome Qui-Gon, Jar Jar, and Padme Naberrie to their home, where they plot to repair the latter's damaged ship. Jedi Maverick, a highly trained Jedi Master. Qui-Gon Jinn is nonetheless an instinctive, restless soul who follows his own path in bringing balance to the Force. Darth Sidious, species human homeworld Naboo affiliation republic, Sith Empire, a seemingly unassuming representative of the peaceful planet Naboo. Sheev Palpatine is in fact the Sith Lord Darth Sidious, who schemes to destroy the Jedi Order and rule the galaxy as Emperor. Senator of Naboo. When the Trade Federation invades Naboo, Queen Amidala seeks advice from Palpatine, who serves as Naboo's representative in the Galactic Senate. Palpatine confides that the Republic's leader, Supreme Chancellor Finis Valorum, has little power in the Senate, and that bureaucrats are in charge. Palpatine adds that if Amidala wants the Trade Federation brought to justice, her best course of action is to call for a vote of no confidence in Valorum, and then push for the election of a stronger leader. At Palpatine's urging, Amidala follows his advice and Valorum is forced to leave office. To Amidala's surprise, the Senate elects Palpatine as Supreme Chancellor. Meeting Anakin after the Battle of Naboo, Palpatine meets the young pilot who helped defeat the Trade Federation's invasion force. Political maneuvering. After the Senate learns that the Separatists are using Geonosian foundries to manufacture a massive droid army, the senators vote to grant emergency powers to Supreme Chancellor Palpatine. This vote enables Palpatine to immediately activate an army of clones to fight the Separatists, even though the Jedi Order is baffled by the clones' dubious origins. Palpatine professes his regret that the Civil War requires him to take emergency powers and claims that he looks forward to relinquishing those powers when the war is over. During the ensuing Clone Wars, Palpatine assumes even more responsibilities. His many important duties include working with the Senate to pass laws to fund the war, and to prevent bureaucracy from interfering with programs that the Jedi Council considers vital to the war effort. Sith Lord revealed. In the last days of the Clone Wars, Palpatine tells Anakin Skywalker, his ally and personal representative on the Jedi Council, a story about the Sith Lord Darth Plagueis, who used the Force to create life and prevent death. According to Palpatine, only the dark side of the Force offers a route to Plagueis' secrets. Palpatine later reveals that he himself is a Sith. Dorth, Sith Secrets. In his chambers, Palpatine draws Anakin into his confidence by revealing his true identity and suspicions about the Jedi's seditious activities. Dark side knowledge if Anakin allies with him. As a Jedi, Anakin knows it is his duty to stop Palpatine. However, nightmarish visions of his beloved wife Padme dying in childbirth convince him that only Palpatine's Sith powers can save her. Anakin agrees to become Sidious, apprentice Darth Vader, and to crush the Jedi Order. Palpatine then declares himself Galactic Emperor, expansion of power. Throughout his reign, Palpatine expands his dictatorship's reach across the galaxy by bringing more systems under Imperial control. He oversees the replacement of the clone army with conscripted stormtroopers, while also scapegoating Imperial leader Edmund Rampart, who carries out the destruction of the cloning facilities on Kamino. Shortly afterward, Palpatine appoints Dr. Royce Hemlock to investigate cloning in a facility on Wayland. 19 years into his rule, Palpatine dissolves the Galactic Senate and places governing power in the hands of regional Moffs. While the Empire promises order and justice to far-flung worlds, the Phantom Menace Palpatine's true goals are known only to himself, but to achieve them, He uses a terrifying combination of political intrigue, deception, ruthlessness, and raw dark-side power. Their citizens pay a heavy price as the Empire presses them into service and exploits their systems, resources. This imperial expansion is necessary to successfully sustain myriad secret projects, including the Death Star battle station, a growing fleet of superstar destroyers, and the advanced weapons research program known as the Tarkin Initiative. During this time, Sidious also reinforces a secret Sith bastion on Exegol, looking into ways to preserve his life after death. As a byproduct of his experiments, Palpatine creates a Strandcast son, who adopts the name Dathan, and as an adult runs away from his father. Dathan and his wife Miramir later leave their daughter Rey on Jakku to hide her from her grandfather. The Emperor's downfall. Following challenges by the Rebel Alliance and Crimson Dawn, Palpatine meets his fate at the hands of his apprentice, Darth. Lightning assault during the Battle of X-Force to unleash a fears-destroying many ships. Vader. In a bid to PR Skywalker, Vader H. Second Death Star fiery death. The EM motion his final SEC contingency. Upon Imperial leaders are out operation, sink Palpatine to punish he deemed had failed chaos. Select Emperor to flee to the Unkno galaxy and rebuild can return Someta. Palpatine Retu. But that isn't Palpaplan. He also clone one Kylo Ren, no Snoke, and lives Palpatine event to his Final Order cultists. Seek an exceptional S to prolong H to turn his to the Dar the resto, she is the S her. Even. Founding of the Galactic Empire and to annihilate the whole Jedi Order. Padme mourns the loss of the Republic, claiming that the formation of the Empire is the end of liberty in the galaxy. She travels to the planet Mustafar to confront Anakin, who is now Palpatine's Sith apprentice. He becomes enraged and nearly kills her. Obi-Wan defeats Anakin in a terrible duel before rushing Padme to a medical facility where she gives birth to twins. Tragically, she dies afterward, leaving behind her children, who will go on to liberate the galaxy from the Empire and restore democracy. Padme Amidala. Species Human Homeworld, Naboo Affiliation Royal House of Naboo, Republic. A representative of her idyllic homeworld, and an idealist during a time of corruption and war, Padme Amidala is determined to do what she can to right wrongs in the ailing republic. Royal service. Born to humble parents on Naboo, Padme Naberi dedicates herself to public service, joining the apprentice legislature at the age of 8. She is elected Queen of Naboo at the age of 14, adopting the formal name Queen Amidala, and her loyal staff includes 5 handmaidens. When the Trade Federation invades Naboo, Amidala and the most trusted of the group, Sabi, disguise themselves as each other. While still undercover, Padme makes an emergency detour to Tatooine, and there meets the enslaved boy Anakin Skywalker, who joins her on her trip to Coruscant, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and survive the first battle of the Clone Wars. Having fallen in love during their reunion, Padme and Anakin marry in secret. Sabi continues to serve as a decoy for Padme, sometimes taking over her role in the Senate. However, Sabi is saddened to discover Padme's secret marriage to Anakin and parts ways with her. Sabi continues working on Padme's goal to free the enslaved people of Tatooine. During the Clone Wars, the galaxy becomes a dangerous place for a loyalist senator, but Padme journeys to many trouble spots, including Rhodia, Mandalore, Batuu, and Scipio in her efforts to use diplomacy to resolve problems. She tries to reconnect with her old friend Mina Bonteri, a former Republic senator who is now part of the Separatist Senate. They work together to achieve a peaceful solution to the Clone Wars. While their motion passes in the Separatist Senate, General Grievous attacks Coruscant's power supply as the Republic vote is taking place. The terrorist attack strikes. Retaking. When she arrives on the planet, the Galactic Senate fails to help her, so she upends the Senate by triggering a new election for its leader. With no help forthcoming, Padme returns to her home, where she allies with the native Gungans to free their planet. Padme is so beloved by her people that some attempt to change Naboo's constitution so she can serve longer, but she refuses. Senatorial life. Padme is surprised when her successor, Queen Raelata, asks her to serve as the senator of Naboo. While Padme had planned to spend her time freeing enslaved people on Tatooine, she accepts the new role, and Sabe covertly assists her. Padme excels as a senator, and her first major piece of legislation, the Mid-Rim Cooperation Motion, saves millions on Bromlark from starvation. Years later, Padme is nearly assassinated on Coruscant, so she retreats in secret to Naboo with Anakin as her Jedi protector. When Anakin senses his mother is in danger, they both travel to Tatooine, but they cannot save Shmi from death. They then head to Geonosis to help. Fear into the Republic's senators and stops the motion from passing, the twilight of the Republic. When Anakin returns from the Outer Rim sieges, Padme reveals that she is pregnant. Padme continues to balance her work as a senator, her secret marriage to a Jedi, and her advancing pregnancy. She is shocked when Palpatine uses the Jedi Council's attempt to arrest him as pretext to declare the crafted couture Queen Amidala's gown is covered with historic symbols that express the majesty of the free people of Naboo. Her elaborate gown also serves to protect her, as it is blaster-resistant and can be easily shed if required. Much of her jewelry conceals useful hidden gadgets. Kadu, homeworld Naboo's size 2 meters high habitat swamps, are two-legged reptavians to Naboo. They are swift, agile creatures with sharp hearing and a keen sense of smell, and although primarily land dwellers, they can also breathe underwater for extended periods. For generations, Gungans have used domesticated Kayadu as steeds to travel through Naboo's swamps and forests, so much so that the Gungan Grand Army comes to rely on them as mounts for their Kadu indigenous patrols. Quarsh Panaka, species human homeworld Naboo affiliation Royal Naboo Security Forces Empire. The brave and resourceful Quarsh Panaka first sees action fighting pirates in his homeworld space sector. He goes on to become the captain of Queen Amidala's security forces. Although he trained his people well, he knows that his world is vulnerable to a planetary assault and argues for stronger security measures, but his counsel is unheeded. After the Trade Federation's invasion begins, Panaka accompanies the Queen to Coruscant so that she can submit an appeal to the Galactic Senate to bolster Naboo's defenses, and then participates in the battle to free Naboo. Panaka continues to serve Amidala throughout her reign, but their relationship becomes strained after they disagree once more over the necessary level of defenses for Naboo. He retires when Queen Amidala's sovereignty ends. After Governor Bibble steps down from his role, the Empire makes Panaka a Moff, and he quickly implements change on Naboo. Years later, He hosts Princess Leia Organa and suspects she is related to Padme Amidala. Before he can convey his theory to Palpatine, he is assassinated by rebel extremist Saw Gerrera, who unwittingly helps keep Leia's parentage secret. Sho-Bible. Species Human Homeworld, Naboo Affiliation Royal House of Naboo. Sho-Bible is a noble philosopher, a member of the Naboo Royal Advice Council, elected governor of Naboo to Queen Amidala's reign. Bibbles many successive monarchs, aiding in their regal duties, and deals dire with regional representatives. He on Naboo during the Trade Feder occupation of the planet, while Kay Amidala travels to Coruscant to aid. Years later, he attends Forme Amidala's funeral and retires shore. Nute Gunray. Species Neimoidian Homeworld Neimoidia Affiliation Trade Federation. Separatist. Neimoidians are well known for their exceptional organizational and business skills. However, Nute Gunray, Viceroy of the Trade Federation, is more unscrupulous and cutthroat than most. The assurances of his shadowy Sith benefactor, Darth Sidious, prompt Gunray to take the ambitious and blatantly illegal path to power as he oversees the blockade and subsequent invasion of Naboo. But Gunray's true cowardly nature is revealed when Queen Amidala and her Naboo freedom fighters blast his droid protectors, reclaim their planet, and declare the Trade Federation's occupation is over. Owing to the resources of his organization, Gunray is found not guilty during the Fourth Republic trial on the invasion of Naboo. During the Clone Wars, Nute Gunray continues to obey the Sith Lords. While hiding on the planet Mustafar, he is unprepared when Darth Vader arrives to kill him. Separatist ally when Count Dooku invites the Trade Federation to join the Separatists, Gunray insists that Dooku first disposes of Padme Amidala, against whom he holds a personal grudge. UM-9, Model Command Battle Droid Manufacturer Bactoid Combat, Automata Affiliation Trade Federation. Like all early B-1 battle droids, UM-9 is incapable of independent thinking and receives instructions from a central source aboard a Trade Federation droid control ship. However, UM-9 was specially programmed to serve as a command droid for the Federation's invasion of Naboo and to act as the primary contact for the Federation's leaders, the Neimoidians Nute Gunray and Rune Hako. On Naboo, UM-9 directs droid ground troops and pilots to occupy settlements and destroy communication transmitters, preventing the planet's citizens from reporting the invasion or summoning help. UM-9 leads the battle droids against Gungan warriors in the Battle of Naboo. Leader in the field, UM-9 signals Trade Federation multi-transports and armored assault tanks T into position as the Battle of Naboo Khan. Jar Jar Binks. Species Gungan Homeworld Naboo Affiliation Gungan Grand Army, Galactic Senate. Well-meaning and kind, Jar Jar Binks finds himself at the center of galactic events during the Republic's final years. Without even realizing it, the hapless Gungan is a key player in the rise of Darth Sidious, haphazard helper, banished from the underwater city Oto Gunga after accidentally destroying Gungan leader Boss Nass. Prized submersible, Jar Jar Binks is foraging for raw shellfish in the murky Naboo swampland when the Trade Federation's invasion force nearly crushes him. Fortunately, the Jedi Knight Qui-Gon Jinn saves Jar Jar, who immediately declares himself the rescuer's humble servant. The hapless Gungan guides Qui-Gon and his apprentice, Obi-Wan Kenobi, to Otogunga, where they obtain a bongo submarine that allows them to proceed to the city of Theed. Once there, they warn Queen Amidala about the impending Trade Federation invasion. After the Galactic Senate fails to help Amidala's people, she asks Jar Jar to contact his fellow Gungans. With Jar Jar's help, the Naboo and the Gungans forge an alliance to liberate their besieged world. Immediately prior to the ground battle against the Trade Federation's droid army, Boss Nass makes Jar Jar a general in the Gungan Grand Army. After the battle, Jar Jar continues to ascend in Gungan society, putting his awkward past as an outcast behind him. Political missteps. Eventually elected as a senior representative for Naboo, Jar Jar serves alongside Padme Amidala in the Galactic Senate. While his compassion speaks volumes for the quality of his character, his inherent gullibility and trusting nature are easily exploited by the less scrupulous in the field of politics. Although Jar Jar is opposed to the Military Creation Act, he unwittingly enables Supreme Chancellor Palpatine to conscript an army of clones to fight separatist forces. Still, in the corrupt inner confines of the Senate, he stands as a rare example of a virtuous politician, interested only in the greater good of the Republic and his people. Diplomatic endeavors. During the Clone Wars, Jar Jar takes on an active role for the Republic, undertaking missions on Mimban, Toydaria, Rhodia, and Florum. He also helps stop a lethal virus from escaping a secret laboratory on Naboo. When the Separatists incite a civil war on Mon Cala, Jar Jar convinces the Gungans to send their army to help the Republic and joins the fight himself. After relations between the Gungans and the humans on Naboo break down, Jar Jar, Padme, and Anakin Skywalker return to the planet and stop the separatist Gungan minister who is behind it. At the request of Queen Julia of Bardota, Jar Jar, with Jedi Master Mace Windu, investigates the disappearance of the planet's Dagoyan masters. They rescue the Queen when she is taken, preventing Mother Talzin from gaining even more power. At the end of the Clone Wars, Jar Jar remains a representative of Naboo and attends Padme's funeral in Theed. Exiled once more. Years later, Jar Jar returns to Naboo and is banished more by the Gungans for his role in the rise of Palpatine. Jar Jar now spends his days entertaining young refugees in Theed. While the children adore Jar Jar and affectionately call him the Clown, the adults ignore him. Jar Jar meets a wounded individual named Mappo, whom he takes as his clown apprentice. During a Senate meeting, Jar Jar takes the initiative and proposes the motion granting emergency powers to Supreme Chancellor Palpatine, a move that has profound impact on the Galactic Republic. Usagai's Bombad. Jar Jar Binks. Gungan culture. The native inhabitants of the Plan Gungans are an amphibious SPE hardy lungs who are capable of breath for extended periods of tea. They are as comfortable in weight on land. While they have great nature and balance, making Eve to overburden their native Ecos Gungans, are suspicious of outs, maintain a large standing militia Gungan Grand Army. Arpeels. E-World Naboo Rand Army. In Otogunga, Ches out for thieves' chures that threaten he blames the AR Binks for numerous AR Jar, becomes a fights alongside in during the clone U.S. Tarpal subdues General Grievous on alst of his own life. World Naboo Council. Gunga, Boss Ruger Council, which earning Naboo's he dislikes Naboo's cause. He believes S as a primitive ER, the trait Abu, and Queen help. He realizes the Naboo must mire world. Nas from his role, but A's funeral in Theed. Sando Aqua Monster. Size 200 meters long, homeworld Naboo. A muscular creature with webbed hands and immense snapping jaws, the Sando Aqua Monster is the largest predator in Naboo's oceans and the only one able to bite through an OP Seakiller's armored shell. The Sando must constantly eat to maintain its enormous form, and easily devours entire schools of fish. Rarely seen by Gungan explorers and navigators, the Sando is somehow capable of hiding in deep environments and is able to live for hundreds of years. During the Imperial era, Sabi summons a Sando to kill Darth Vader. However, the Sando is no match for Vader, who dispatches it. Vader's droid Zed-67 surmises that, due to the species' rarity and slow life cycle, it is likely the Sando will become extinct. Killer instinct. The mysterious, gigantic, and always voracious Sando Aqua Monster closes in for the kill. Using its razor-sharp teeth, the Sando easily dismembers a hapless OP Seakiller that has strayed within its reach. OP Seakiller. Average size 20 meters long, homeworld Naboo, Strokal Prime. Big gooberfish, huge O teeth. A vicious underwater predator, the OP Seakiller lurks inside caves on the ocean planets of Naboo and Strokal Prime. Using a long lure to attract potential prey, the OP employs a combination of swimming and jet propulsion to pursue its target. Snagging victims with its adhesive tongue, the creature then draws its captured meal into its deadly maw. As aggressive as they are persistent, OPs are unafraid of larger predators. Even the most experienced Gungan navigators avoid routes inhabited by these creatures, as they know OPs regard the Bongo's passengers as irresistible treats. Jar Jar Binks. Tongue-lashing an OP Seakiller's low the Gungan Bongo, the Obi-Wan Kenobi, and the Cap of Naboo for unwittingly intervenes. W-Fish M Long 000. In tunnels along floor, the E-studded Kolo Claw, or ours, waiting to within the huge Uller claws for which pre-attacking, the Kolomike shriek to disorient its stuns with its, distending its jaw and swallow prey much VN head. If the Kolo its victim unconscious MG, there is a big risk Ed creatures will their way out of the wealthy, and the is a rare delicacy. And capable royal handmaiden on Padme Amidala and saint-trusted friends. Say personates the queen to enemies, including during Shun's invasion of Naboo. Switch roles successfully Pidians into believing that M, when Padme's reign ends as a senator, Sabe continues from the shadows, aved people on Tatooine, some of them off-world, and who is trying to kill Padme. When Padme dies, an Al. Alongside her partner, Vess, to look into her death, the founding members of El Group. This path leads S with Darth Vader on several. Me-World Naboo House of Naboo Amidalans, by Captain Quarsh Panaka Handmaiden for Queen G the Handmaiden's Daeon's expert. After the battle Vez to Oto Gunga to G and Art, eventually technology that the use to escape the Vader. Missions, eventually figuring out his hidden identity as Anakin Skywalker. For a time, she also aligns herself with Crimson Dawn. Sabe comes close to succumbing to her dark desires of power and control, but ultimately resists the temptation and is abandoned by Vader. Rabe. Species human homeworld Naboo affiliation Royal House of Naboo, Amidalans. Rabe is a loyal handmaiden for Padme Amidala, arranging the Queen of Naboo's hair and providing protection. She is also a lover and student of music. After Senator Amidala's death, she and the rest of the Amidalans pledged to kill Padme's murderer. Ricoli, species Human Homeworld Naboo Affiliation Naboo Royal Security Forces, Naboo Space Fighter Corps, Amidalans. A veteran pilot in the Naboo Space Fighter Corps, Ricoli can fly any craft in the Corps fleet and answers directly to Captain Panaka. It is his honor to captain Queen Amidala's royal starship, and soon after meeting 9-year-old Anakin Skywalker, he shows the boy how to operate the starship's controls. During the Battle of Naboo, Oli pilots an N-1 starfighter, leading Bravo Squadron's assault on the Federation battleship. Following his former queen's death, Oli joins the Amidalans, a rebel group that wants revenge for Padme's death. Near Theed, Oli leads an Amidalan attack on Darth Vader, believing him to have caused Padme's and Anakin's deaths. Little does Oli realize that he is facing Anakin in battle, and he falls to Vader's blade. Sash, species Human Homeworld Naboo Affiliation Royal House of Naboo Amidalans. The youngest of the handmaidens, Sash becomes a hero of the Battle of Naboo after being tortured by the Trade Federation. Scarred by this experience, Sashay eventually enters Naboo politics. She is extremely loyal to the other handmaidens, especially her wife Yane and their children. Sergeant Tonra, species Human Homeworld and Affiliation Royal House of Nabo. Tonra first serves in the Royal Security Forces, fighting in the against the Trade Federation. Works with Sabe to find Shmi on Tatooine, and free as man-people as possible. Amembe Amidalans, he is killed by Dar and Death Troopers on Nabo. Turer Industrial Automaton Ares Astromech Droid on Republic. Rebel Alliance, Resistance. Illing to help his friends, no E-Risk, R2-D2 has a close end with the protocol droid Ith, whom he has participated U.S. historic battles. Stromech, E-Utility droid generally used for enance and repair of Starship's D technology, the Astromech equipped with a variety of appendages that are stowed D compartments. As Property Al Security Forces of Naboo, one of several droids who serve E-Queen's royal starship. After Federation forces Padme to flee D, her ship has to thread its way blockade. 2 Rans. D2 is instrumental Amidala and her Jedi allies 2D2 subsequently meets Lot. Anakin Skywalker and Teli serves as Anakin's co-pilot Battle of Naboo. To the Republic. Ne Amidala's reign as Queen O2 continues to serve her during as a Republic senator. When attempts to kill Padme on the Jedi Order assigns Anakin bodyguard, with R2-D2 providing him. Later, along with C-3PO, and for the secret wedding of Anakin. During the clone Irvs as Skywalker's astromech Jedi starfighters. After Anakin's Larkside and his subsequent Obi-Wan Kenobi on Mustafar, and when Padme gives birth Yuke and Leia. Unlike C-3PO, OT subjected to a memory wipe, errs everything when the pair Irvis of Senator Bail Organa. Ned Messenger. Decades after the rise of the D2 and C-3 PO served Princess A of Alderaan, who is also an E-rebellion. While attempting ATA about the Death Star to her equal-to-blockade runner is captured Dur. She hastily records a ND instructs R2-D2 to deliver accompanying data to Obi-Wan spite C-3PO's protests. The mech doggedly follows his ultimately helps the rebels' Death Star. fearless mechanic ignoring enemy laser fire, R2-D2 quickly repairs Queen Amidala's starship to save the Queen and her allies. Secret agent. During the Galactic Civil War, 2 Rands undertakes many missions for the Rebellion, even taking on a Star Destroyer single-handedly to rescue C-3PO, and aids Luke as he learns more about the Jedi. Because astromech units are among the most ubiquitous droids, they attract relatively little attention or suspicion at Imperial spaceports and criminal outposts. R2-D2 becomes extremely skilled at covertly insinuating himself territory in order to help his friends. In fact, he helps infiltrate Jabba the Hutt's palace during the Alliance's rescue of Han Solo. Loyal droid. After the Galactic Civil War, R2-D2 accompanies Luke Skywalker on his quest to uncover secrets of the Force and train the next generation of Jedi. He joins Luke on a variety of missions, from the rescue of the Force-attuned child Grogu on Moff Gideon's ship to the galaxy-spanning search for Ochi of Bestoon. 2 Rands D2 resides on Ossus, where he supports Master Skywalker with his new Jedi Temple and the younglings in his care. When Grogu decides to end his training, the helpful droid pilots Luke's X-Wing himself to take the child back to Din Djarin's side. Return to the fight. During the rise of the First Order, the astromech bears witness to the destruction of Luke's temple, following Ben Solo's fall to the dark side. Having lost hope, Skywalker goes into hiding and leaves R2-D2 behind with Leia Organa.